So we are in the beginning of June, the first weekend of June. We are in zone 7A. I just thought we'd do a quick walk around, look at things that have changed. This time of year, things are changing a lot. So we'll start on this side of the house. This is the east side, gets morning sun. The June hostas are looking really well. Since we last videoed, we did have a major hailstorm and has really shredded a lot of the broad leaves in a lot of the plants. So when you look at some of the hostas, you're gonna see that they've been torn up. But from afar, they still look good. And with these June hostas, the yellow really brightens up this corner. The barberry, I always trim back really hard. In February, that's all leafed out. Has great color. Again, you can see the hostas with just leaf damage from the hail. So, I don't have to really do much work on this side of the house. It's sort of self-sustaining. I just make sure things are not encroaching too much on each other, but I like the blending of the salmon seal, the hosta, underneath this dogwood. These are the endless summer blooming hydrangeas. And you can just see just loaded with blossoms and, starting to open up. This is the type of hydrangea that you can adjust the color of the flower with the pH. And so you can see where I have mostly blue emerging, but I do have like a light pink. And I like the mixture of it. The wisteria, my husband said this weekend he thought that wisteria was a goner with the dog chewing on the trunk. But wisterias are really tough, hard to really hard to kill them. Let's walk this way. The white roses are blooming. We've had a really wet May, which isn't great for the roses. They get sort of soggy in the blossoms, so they still look pretty, but I've had better years for sure. You can see where I could probably trim all those roses off that are just too wet, but it's a really pretty flower. I do like the combination of the nepeta at the base of the roses. I think that looks really pretty. Phlox are in full bloom. The green foliage in between the phlox is just a bulb where the leaf of the bulb is there. I put in some pink salvia along with this sedum. I think this sedum sort of looks like almost like a eucalyptus plant, but it is a sedum. Astilbe, 2 astilbe, 1 on either side of the crepe myrtle. The crepe myrtle looks really healthy, all leafed out. Really happy with the herb boxes by the patio. A little bit more accessible in those boxes than going all the way out to the vegetable garden. Again, you can see just where the hostas got really tattered up with the hail. These looked really so glorious. We've had such a wet spring. The hostas looked really, really good. But that's okay. They'll be fine. Purple iris are blooming. Behind this rhododendron. Rhododendron's done blooming. It has really good, healthy foliage. It's a St. John's wort that's blooming in the yellow flower there. Back up here, the honeysuckle that's over the arbor entrance. It will just gradually bloom through the summer. It won't have too many, like a big flush, but you'll see it'll bloom on the new growth as it continues to grow. It's a really cute, sweet space. I do need to find something for that corner. You know, it's a dry spot, protected by the eaves of the house and in the corner in both directions. So just have to find something that is okay, not getting a lot of natural rain. So if you watched the video 3 weeks ago, the deutzias, which are those shrubs now that are trimmed back, were in full bloom. So those blooms ended. I have trimmed them all the way back. I do like a 1/3 of the old branches. I pull them out from the base and then try to get them at a decent height, but they will shoot back up and have an arching appearance in their in the growth by the end of summer. They'll then drop their leaves and then obviously will bloom in the spring. Go up the steps here. The 9 bark is looking really, really good. It's really fills in this space here along the fence. This is a new plant I just put in the ground. It's a yucca. I've actually got 2 different types of yucca. This is from Monrovia. Has a pink blossom. I actually am really doubting putting it in the ground. So don't be surprised by the next video. I've taken it back out of the ground and put it in a pot. Russian sage along the top of the wall here. Andina, butterfly bush in the corner. The hibiscus are out as far as up with foliage. Black-eyed Susans are in front of those big holly trees on either side. Another month and they will be in full bloom, which really brightens up this top layer. The oakleaf hydrangea is fully out in the middle of the top layer as well. Again, these are those deutzias. Not exactly the prettiest bush when they're not in bloom, but gosh, when they are in bloom, it is definitely a show. Some dahlias growing. These are pinky winky hydrangeas. There's 5 bushes that run along this front of this wall. They're getting big. They can get quite large, 4 to 5 feet high and wide. But you can see the leaves got some hail damage. And I think that's just gonna be a story for the year, an early hailstorm. Let's take a closer look at this oakleaf hydrangea. This oakleaf hydrangea I received as a gift from my parents. It was just they pulled it off their own plant, propagated it. It was a little thing, it was like a little twig. And just look at it. I don't know the variety, but the leaf is a little bit more of a chartreusey green, a little bit lighter. The blossoms are really, really pretty. It's really a center focal point on this top part of the wall. Trimmed back the hydrangea that was done blooming. Trimmed the boxwood. More dahlias in front of us. So this is a change here in the front of the wall, and we'll probably get a better view once I come off the wall. There was 2 ground cover type roses in front of this black lace elderberry, which was sort of covering up the bottom of the elderberry, which I just didn't allow the elderberry to really show off. Giving it some space in the front, so I think it will do better. It'll fill out the bottom, and it'll just make this overall space just look a little bit more balanced, not so crowded. Then have dahlia blossom, black-eyed Susans coming up. More dahlias here. That should definitely have a blossom. These are Shasta daisies. They're about to open up. So here is the variegated yucca. This should have a white blossom. Again, the Next time we do a tour, it'll probably be in a pot. I've heard it's really, the root structure of these yuccas in the ground can be really hard to move later on. And, you know, they don't really require a lot of moisture, so I think they would do well in a pot. And then that way I can move them around. So more oakleaf hydrangeas. I have 3 of them in the back here. They're blooming. You can tell that the blossoms are bigger. I forget the variety. I'll have to take note to mention that the next time. Smoke bush has flowered out. That's that hazy pink above the leaves on that purplish tree. This is another variety of a St. John's wort. Again, a cute yellow blossom. This variety also has a like a pinkish berry. Really am enjoying just how things are sort of come together, but they do have some negative space in between some of the plants, but we have a good blend of items here. This is a happy ending daylily. This is the yellow. So those drumstick alliums, those will bloom here in like a week or so. You can see they're really starting to come out of their casing. Wanted to show you. You can see I have, there was 3 rose bushes, sort of a ground cover rose bush. They were pretty large. The other 2 are sort of in those vacant holes there in front of that black lace elderberry. Pulled those out, added the petunias and the pink Truffula gomphrena annuals in those spaces. Give them a week and they'll catch up to the rest of the border there. My dad built me that obelisk that is painted blue. Just gives some color. The white Veronica or Speedwell I have opened up, lines this side of the bed. I think that's a pomegranate yarrow. I feel like I probably need to get a some type of support structure for this yarrow. It gets so tall, really likes this space, but it gets a little floppy. So let's go in the vegetable space. This is an old Wallerton David Austin rose. I do have a hard time with the black spot on this variety, but when it blooms, it's a really pretty bloom. This one is when it's active is really. Let's see if I can get an image of this one up here. It's really pretty when it's opened up. But you can see the black spot is all through it. And I spray it, but maybe I don't spray it enough. Okay, I don't have anything in the cold frame right now. You can see the soil level is down. I need to get some raised bed mix and compost and raise that back up, and I do want to maybe do some leafy greens back in there. I should have done it in the spring, but never too late. Potatoes, we did add some additional soil to the potato bags today. We have a squash at the end, and those are some tiny peppers. Wait until the heat kicks up and they will get big. Strawberries. This whole planter has been full of strawberries. You can see, I should probably actually pick those before the bunnies get them. But just filled to the brim strawberry plants. More potatoes here. One is like a red skin potato, the other one is like a Yukon potato. Apple trees, espalier apple trees. I think we have a whopping 2 apples on them. That's fine. It'll probably go to the squirrel anyhow. So not too hard pressed there. I think they're really a nice structure in the garden. Cucumbers along the red fencing. We'll train those to go up, and then I have eggplant behind that, and then also some sweet peas. Again, the cucumbers took a hit with the hail. A lot of physical leaf damage from the hail. The one thing that did actually do pretty well was the tomatoes. So tomatoes are looking good. They're straight. No sign of infection. Weeded this out today, so they look good. Also fertilized them. These 2 beds have a combination of snapdragons, cosmos, and zinnia. So just growing those as a small little cut flower bed. So I can actually don't feel guilty about cutting the flowers from the main gardens. We've definitely been enjoying our asparagus this year. And we will get maybe a whopping 1 serving of blueberries for a yogurt breakfast, but that is okay. Maybe a little bit more. We've got a couple of bunches. trimmed the boxwood. These are sprinter boxwoods. They were planted, I think in 21, so 3 years. Definitely they were teeny tiny plants. You know, maybe another year or two and we might have an actual connecting hedge. But I did get those trimmed back. Okay, so this is new since the last time we were talking about it, but we extended the bed to come out to include the red bud. We do just have our picnic table, so it's not in the middle of the yard, and we can pull that out when we want to entertain. The camellias along the fence look really healthy. Lots of good growth. And I can just envision that hedge along this fence with these camellias. And this is all new for this season. We have a Japanese maple, a mixture of hostas, hellebores. There's a dwarf ginkgo. I have some ferns. I know the hammock doesn't do everything justice, but and you can just see again that hail damage on this hosta. Let's go to the other side of the house. So we'll start on this side of the house with this pretty clematis at the light post by the driveway. Gonna have that clematis with the roots covered by the lamb's ear. The heuchera, the coral bells are blooming. A stilby. So I've tried on this side of the house to add plant tags. So this is a leadwort. It's a little bit, it can spread. But it hasn't been a bully, so just softens up the side of the sidewalk. These bushes are azaleas, again with the coral bells or heuchera in the front. This is a North Exposure Silver heuchera. I like the variegated look on the front, and then on the underside it's more of a purple. It's really pretty. Some alliums, the last of the peony. Probably should have trimmed those off this weekend. Baptisia. I think I said that was a pink lemonade baptisia, and that's wrong. I think it's a, oh gosh, I can't remember now. have to definitely write that one down. The spirea are blooming, and the Stella d'Or daylilies. The rainbow ascot euphorbia. Butterfly bush is starting to bloom up at the top. It's always good for the hummers and the butterflies. The mock orange was blooming fully 3 weeks ago. That's now done. That's been pruned back. It blooms on old wood, so it's really important that you trim it back right after it is done blooming. So this rose, the story on the rose, if you're following along, this is a David Austin Lady of Shalott. It died completely back, but I did get some new shoots a couple of weeks ago, so we're gonna see, and I just need to see if that's coming from the base. You know, I just have to watch it and see if it'll come and climb up this obelisk. If it does, it'll look really pretty. If not, then it needs to get replaced. And then we mulched this, the Chinese viburnum. And then we have the serviceberry. The serviceberry with these cute little berries, which are edible. Not that I'm gonna, this is an Autumn Brilliance serviceberry. Now what you can see on this side here is the magnolia behind the fence. It's starting to bloom. You get those big white magnolia flowers. I think that brings us to the end until a couple of weeks from now. We'll see what our changes are. The spirea should be done blooming by then. The daylilies would still be blooming, hopefully. And it'll be a lot more hot. So hope you guys are enjoying your gardens as much as I'm enjoying mine. And have a great week.